Hey guys, it's Mark from Migraine Professional. I used to suffer from migraines and headaches until about 5 years ago when I figured out how to beat them, and I've been migraine free ever since. Now I teach other people how to do the same, and in this video we're going to be kind of answering the question, why do traumatic experiences set us up for migraines and headaches? So first off, we need to understand what a traumatic experience is. So a traumatic experience is one that gives us PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And it is most easily kind of explained through the DSM's definition in the book, The Body Keeps the Score, by Bessel A. Vanderkolk. And so PTSD is when a person is exposed to a horrendous event that involved actual or threatened death or serious injury, or a threat to the physical integrity of self or others, causing intense fear, helplessness, or horror, which results in a variety of manifestations. These are the person keeps on replaying this experience. It doesn't have to be the whole experience. It can just be parts of it. It can just be the reaction to it. It can just be dreams of it. It can just be the way they felt when it was going on. But this experience keeps on getting repeated. It gets imprinted into us. And so the most common and the biggest trauma that we need to understand and we need to be able to deal with if we have migraines and headaches, as well as chronic disease in general and autoimmune disease, because they play a big part with trauma as well, is we need to understand our adverse childhood events, ACE. Now the ACE study was done on, I think, over 100,000 children, and it found that adverse childhood experiences were one of the biggest risk factors for all manners of death and disease and high-risk behaviors and a massive amount of the chronic illness that we experience today. So what are the ACEs? So the ACEs, it's a broad category of events that happen in your childhood that affect you adversely. So whether that be physical abuse or neglect, sexual abuse, emotional abuse or neglect, intimate partner violence in your household, let's say between your parents, between someone, abuse to your mother, or violence towards your mother, as well as substance abuse, being exposed to substance abuse as a child, having mental illness in the household, separation or divorce of your parents, as well as incarceration. So these are all massive adversely affecting experiences and events that, if they happen in our childhood, they can upregulate our nervous system, our autonomic nervous system, and how our nervous system functions. And so just remember to, if you like this video, make sure you click like and you click subscribe below the video. And so our autonomic nervous system is basically, I've kind of highlighted it in other videos. It controls either our fight or flight response or our rest and digest response. So what happens when we go through these experiences as a kid, our foundation, the foundation of our nervous system's functioning gets set higher because we get this increased state of arousal. Our body starts to perceive that we are not safe. Because during the first 8 years of life, we are like a sponge. We do not have our own conscious ability to project our thoughts, create our own beliefs and belief structures. So we are absorbing everything. So if we go through a adverse childhood experience like this, it tells our body that the environment is not safe, that we are not safe, that we are not secure. And so then our body upregulates the amount of the amount of autonomic nervous system functioning towards the sympathetic side, the fight or flight side, the fight, flight, or fear response. And so then we're constantly up higher, up in this higher level of more stress, more fear, more danger. And so everything becomes more reactionary. We become more emotional, we're more reactionary, we're less able to be laid back, responsive, and logical. So What we want to understand is, of course, the ANS functioning gets disturbed here. So we really want to understand that if these experiences are happening, they change the way our autonomic nervous system is functioning. So we are much easier and we are much more apt to increase our trigger levels through emotional stresses, through mental stresses. We're much more easily triggered, and we're much more easily pushed over our threshold to trigger our migraines and headaches. Now, what also ends up happening is that if we're exposed to these, whether that be in our childhood or later in life, let's say we went to war, or we were abused, whether that be physically, emotionally, sexually, then our self-worth, our self-esteem, and our self-confidence will go down. Now, when this goes down, this affects everything in our life. It affects everything that is going on. And what ends up happening is that our behaviors become higher risk behaviors. And because we have a lower level of self-worth, self-confidence, and self-esteem, we hold ourselves to a lower standard. Or we can overcompensate, we can become perfectionists, and then we can hold ourselves to a standard that is not reachable. So instead of holding ourselves to a normal standard, a normal functional standard that does not stress us, we are either holding ourselves to a lower standard where we are, let's say, hurting our body through eating junk food, processed foods, we're abusing our body in that way, or we are overshooting our standards and we're abusing our body by constantly putting this stress on it, constantly being anal or obsessive about little things that wind up our system and burn our body. They burn our adrenals out, they set off our circadian rhythms, and they destroy our body's ability to function, rest, digest, and repair. So the behaviors are a big part of it. We want to see where our behaviors coming from. Why do we feel like we need to reward ourselves with some food that is poisoning us? Why do we feel like we need to go out and drink on the weekends and poison ourselves with alcohol? There are underlying mechanisms here that we want to investigate. Everyone's different. Then, of course, our reactions and our emotions. So our reactions and our emotions are like I talked about, they are regulated through our autonomic nervous system, and when these experiences happen, we get shifted over to that sympathetic side and our nervous system gets upregulated so that it's more on the edge, it's more tense, it is experiencing more activity, it is less able to sit back, to relax, to rest, digest, and repair. So a couple of things. Obviously, go to the book, The Body Keeps the Score, and I'll put some links in the description for really good resources on how to go about dealing with trauma. But a couple of things for our autonomic nervous system functioning, we always want to make sure that we're connecting with our vagus nerve. We're doing vagus nerve exercises. If we've been through trauma, we want to make sure we go to a trauma release therapist. You really want to be careful with going to just a talk therapist, because often what ends up happening is that if you continue talking about an experience, you're not doing anything about that experience, you're just replaying it and you're driving it into the nervous system. You're driving it into deeper and deeper into the nervous system. You're making it harder and harder to get over with, to deal with. So you want to be careful with that. Go to a trauma release therapist, and you want to make sure you forgive. At the end of the day, you're forgiving yourself. You don't have to forgive the people around you. You just have to forgive yourself. And you want to reparent yourself. So oftentimes when these things happen as a child, we can stay stuck as that child. That child will stay stuck in us with that hurt, with that pain. So we want to sit down with ourselves. We want to enter into a meditative state, and we want to approach our inner child. We want to reparent them. We want to teach them that it is okay, that you are here for them now. You are the adult that can take care of them, that can keep them safe, that can make them feel secure and safe and take care of their needs. They don't have to be worried and continue reacting and continue overreacting instead of just responding to situations and being constantly stressed and in a fear state. You can relax, you can be a kid again, you can play again, and of course making sure you forgive yourself, That's a really big part of it. So let me know in the comments below. Do you feel like trauma has played a part in your migraines or headaches? What have you done for it? What has worked for you? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks. Hey, it's Mark from migraineprofessional.com. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe in the bottom left corner. And if you want to learn more about migraines and headaches than you've ever known before, and understand what causes them, what creates them, and what you can do about them, make sure to go to migraineprofessional.com. Thanks.